You won't save mine? Do you want me to die?
You will be my final hunt. Tonight shall be your first. Weakness will not claim me. If I am to die soon, I will die roaring!
We need Insomniac to make a Venom game right freaking now, Spidey Squad. But regardless, welcome back, true believers and all you spectacular Spidey fans, as well as all you vicious Venom fans out there, to another extremely exciting video. Where if the message somehow wasn't already fully clear enough, is that we undoubtedly 110% need at some point down the line a fully AAA standalone Venom game completely developed by Insomniac and Marvel Games. And this isn't simply due to the fact that Venom is an absolutely amazing character as a whole, but it would also be a fantastic way for Insomniac to continue developing the Venom that they've already thoroughly crafted. Not just in the case of Venom being a completely playable character in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which was hands down the best mission within the entire game, but it would also allow Insomniac's writers to further evolve Venom's storyline within the context of the Marvel Spider-Man universe, as well as Insomniac getting a second chance to continue developing Venom's core characteristics and iconic personality, which we only caught small glimpses of near the latter half of Marvel's Spider-Man 2's story. But again, as I already thoroughly analyzed within my Venom breakdown video, is that Marvel's Spider-Man 2, just like what we saw with Spider-Man PS4, is more akin to that of a thorough origin story of each of Spider-Man's iconic villains, where we initially started with Otto Octavius becoming Dr. Octopus, and have since fully witnessed the origin of Harry Osborn becoming Venom in Insomniac's Spider-Man universe. But the most important thing to take away from all this is that Venom is an immensely beloved character, and would absolutely fit the notion for receiving his completely own individual standalone game. Which is why I've once again reunited with my unbelievably good friend and reoccurring special guest on the channel in order to talk about this Venom game in more detail with the one and only Comic Blast Keenan, where Keenan and I not only already did a previous collab video in the past talking about who exactly we could see returning as Venom within Insomniac's universe, but we also did a brand new collab on his channel, which you should most definitely check out, as to why exactly we think Marvel's Wolverine is going to be an unbelievable masterpiece. So if you're someone like myself and Keenan who are unbelievably excited for the overall future of any and all upcoming Marvel games, then make sure to whip that like button and subscribe to the channel for any and all types of Marvel games videos down the line.
Well, thank you once again, Evan, for having me back on the channel to discuss why we need a Venom game. I think I speak for most fans out there when I say that even though I absolutely loved Marvel Spider-Man 2 and would give it a 9.5 out of 10, the game could have absolutely used a little bit more time with Venom. Venom's introduction was an epic one. I love that as soon as Venom is introduced in Marvel Spider-Man 2, Insomniac immediately gave us control over that character. The time we spent playing as Venom certainly was a rush and was probably one of the highlights of the game, which just left me, and I'm sure you, Evan, as well, wanting more of that. The good thing for us fans is that the narrative director of Marvel Spider-Man 2, John Paquette, stated before the release of Marvel Spider-Man 2 that when it came to the idea of a Venom spin-off game, that they were going to see how the fans react, and then they're going to listen to the fans. Well, if you're someone like me and Evan, then that is music to your ears, because the overwhelming fan feedback since the release of Marvel Spider-Man 2 is that we need more Venom. We want a Venom game. We got the villainous side of Venom in Marvel Spider-Man 2, and now we are ready for that lethal protector version of Venom with Harry as Venom.
When did the idea for Venom, Harry being Venom kind of come about, and how important was it for you as a team to implement that in a way that feels like you're going on a journey with the characters and it feels like an authentic turn?
Really, I would say probably halfway through Spider-Man 1. Like, because we had that teaser scene that shows Norman in the tank and Harry with the symbiote, right? So we knew that, yes, we're kind of hitting ourselves in the corner, like, you better do. We could have, said, oh, that's another thing, but we knew that's where we wanted to go, right? And I think that, there was a reason why the symbiote suit wasn't in that first game. I think I even said at one point after the game ship, I'm like, oh, that kind of story, that thing needs its own game, and that's what we did. Yeah. But we did, and I think our kind of guiding light through this whole 9 years of working on Spider-Man has been like, let's respect the DNA of the franchise. Yeah. But let's not be afraid to mix things up. So, for example, I think Venom's a good example of that. Like, you look at Venom. If you're a fan of Venom, I hope when you see Venom, you're like, oh, I recognize that character. He has the traits, the personality, the characteristics of a great Venom. But the host is different. It's Harry, because we wanted to have a character who had more of an emotional attachment to our heroes. The number one thing that we talked about Venom was we want to make it our own story. Yeah. And it was, and this is going to sound, I hope this doesn't come across cheesy, like, how can we make this an emotional Venom story? Yeah. And that was kind of the thing, like, I'm really proud of is that, even though Harry's motivation once he has the symbiote is, what he wants to do, healing the world, is right. The way he's going about it through the symbiote is wrong. So I think we always want to, that's kind of important to us, is like, there's something with whether it's, Otto, whether it's Tinker, and now whether it's Venom, there's something you can connect to with the villain.
In my opinion, Venom is just way too big of a character in the world of Spider-Man to just be one and done with him. Insomniac really laid the foundation for a playable Venom within Marvel's Spider-Man 2, but there is just so much more that could be expanded on when it comes to gameplay with the character, such as improving traversal with things such as super jumps, kind of like the Hulk would have, Venom wings, which we already saw in action in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and even have him swing from building to building.
Gotta find her. Got no choice. Where, what a wuss. Hey, wanna race? Parker hates it when I get the drop on him.
I hate it when he gets the drop on me.
When it comes to the combat, there is just so much more that could be done to enhance the experience of fighting as Venom. It felt like Insomniac really gave us the basics when it came to Venom's combat in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, almost as if this would be the base set of moves when starting a game. But there could be so much more to do if Venom was given his own skill tree within his own game. Just think of all the creative abilities and moves that could be unlocked for Venom. I'm telling you, the combat for Venom in Marvel Spider-Man 2 was just a tease of what is possible if we got a Venom standalone game. In Marvel Spider-Man 2, Venom only has two major abilities using the L1 button. You had the option to either press circle or square to activate an ability. It's almost as if they left the X and the triangle button empty because it could be utilized in the future. And just imagine if Venom had his own rage mode like Peter did when he had the symbiote suit, by hitting that L3 and R3 button at the same time. That would be epic.
Oh, this feels good. Just your boss needs better aim. Why do you keep fighting us?
You're not giving me a choice!
You could also really pull off some amazing and gruesome combat in a solo game for Venom. In Marvel Spider-Man 2, you could only go so violent because you were restricted by the T rating for the game. But if you were able to give Venom a standalone game, then you could make that game a rated M game. You could get so creative with the combat and really pull off some gruesome takedowns. It's very likely that Marvel's Wolverine is going to be rated M, so I don't think it's unlikely that a game like Venom could be rated M as well. I feel like rated M really serves that character better. But overall, I think that there is so much potential to expand on what Insomniac has started in Marvel Spider-Man 2 by making Venom a playable character, and the best way to expand on that is by giving him his own solo game, which is something that us fans are really clamoring for. Evan, back to you.
Let's heal the world, Pete. Together.
Well said as always, Keenan, because not only would Insomniac do an absolutely fantastic job of further evolving the core gameplay mechanics that have already been set forth within Venom's moveset as to what we already saw in full display in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, but giving Venom his own completely dedicated AAA game would also be the perfect chance to completely deliver an incredibly detailed and extremely emotional Venom storyline, which directly showcases the bond and connection that Harry has with the symbiote, as well as how exactly he could have the ability to learn to control the power that the symbiote provides him as a means to truly become the iconic Lethal Protector anti-hero that the majority of Venom fans know and love. For starters, it was already reported by the main man himself who plays Venom in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 of Tony Todd all the way back in November of 2023, specifically during the San Francisco Fan Expo, which I was personally in attendance for. Tony stated during a panel presentation is that only approximately 10% of his recorded dialogue that he did as Venom did end up making the cut for the final product of Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and that there is a possible chance that the other recorded dialogue that he did as Venom could be saved sometime later down the line. Now, as for whether or not these unutilized recorded Venom lines are in fact going to be saved for a Venom game is still unknown, but at the very least, it does show Tony's dedication to the character of Venom, and hands down that he would undoubtedly agree to returning to play as the character if he was offered the chance. But for the case of Venom as a character, Tony Todd obviously makes up half of who Venom is, and rather is that the symbiote's main host of Harry Osborn would more than likely be seen as this game's main protagonist. So if we're able to actually end up playing as Harry himself outside of being a giant 19-foot tall monster, just like with what we were able to do with playing as Peter Parker and Miles Morales outside of their Spider-Man suits, as well as with playing as Mary Jane Watson and even the addition of Haley Cooper, then it's going to make the entire narrative that we could see evolve with Venom all the more impactful to Harry's story, as well as the characters that he could end up interacting with. And speaking of characters, is that there is a pretty prominent individual which was directly revealed at the very end of Marvel's Spider-Man 2's second post-credit scene. And in case you forgot, I am referring to the newly introduced Spider heroine with the one and only Cindy Moon as Silk. Now let's be totally honest, Silk as a standalone character is nowhere near as popular as Venom. So Insomniac developing a completely standalone Silk game in comparison to that of Venom would straight up make absolutely no lick of sense whatsoever, both from that of a production perspective as well as a financial perspective. But what I could see happening is that if Venom does end up getting his own standalone game, we could see Silk being introduced as her own spider hero during some point of this game's story, which would then make it easier to transition into the inevitable Marvel Spider-Man 3, where Peter and Miles are already thoroughly established characters. So if Insomniac were to then try and juggle the development of Silk on top of bringing in other characters like Green Goblin and the return of Dr. Octopus, it would simply be that there is too much going on. But having a game where Venom could learn to try and be more of an anti-hero in comparison to a villain, while also showcasing the growth of Cindy Moon becoming her own hero as Silk, similar to what we saw with Miles getting his own standalone game, and also introducing other characters like the Prowler and Tinkerer, could be a very interesting line to balance. But the most important thing to take into consideration when making a standalone Venom game is what exactly would this game's core story end up being, as well as how it could properly end up transitioning into the future of Insomniac's universe with Marvel's Spider-Man 3. And if you played through Marvel's Spider-Man 2, the resolution of what this game's story could be, as well as its overall payoff, is pretty damn obvious.
Let there be carnage.
Carnage to Venom is what the Joker is to Batman. And seeing how we already got a thorough setup of Cletus Cassidy getting his hands on a symbiote during the very end of the Flame side quests, then what would be even better than Spider-Man fighting Carnage? Well, in this case, being able to play through a complete next-gen slugfest between both Venom and Carnage, and having Carnage be the final boss fight for Venom to take down during his own standalone game would be nothing short of pure poetry. Plus, I also think that having the symbiote storyline fully wrap up within Marvel's Spider-Man 2, as well as a possible Venom spin-off game, would be far better for Insomniac to do rather than having the symbiotes continue somehow into Marvel's Spider-Man 3's campaign. And by some chance, if we end up seeing Harry Osborn sacrifice himself as Venom in order to stop Carnage, that would easily make the transition of Norman Osborn becoming the Green Goblin go on to hit that much harder. And I know for a fact that Keenan and I cannot wait. In the end, everybody, there is a seemingly infinite amount of possibilities that Insomniac could take when making a fully AAA standalone Venom game. Not just simply in the case of fan service to give people a Venom game just for the sake of doing so, but it could also provide an incredibly memorable Venom storyline, which would go on to do justice not only for the character of Venom himself, but for this main iteration of Venom that Insomniac have already established in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And merely being able to see the return of Graham Phillips as Harry Osborn, as well as Tony Todd as Venom, that would easily be a dream come true. But we're just gonna have to wait and see as to what exactly Insomniac has in store. And with all that said, everybody, that's the video I have for all you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. On a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do you want Insomniac to make a spin-off Venom game? And if there was one thing that you would want to incorporate within this game, what would you choose? Let me know what you think, be sure to leave a like on the video, and subscribe to my channel and Keenan's for any more Marvel Spider-Man 2 and other Marvel games videos down the line. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans, and stay vicious, Venom fans, and until next time, peace out.